So the Weapon Talk series, I'm going to, well, let me just take a blink. Alrighty, talking about the solid Gauss and the Hawanji, those are two different weapon types. The Hawanji deals its damage per particle, per tick. It's a laser beam. The longer you hold the button down, the more it'll continuously do that damage per second. The Hawanji deals its damage potential much faster. The solid Gauss, to get its damage potential, you have to let it fully charge up, fire, hit with it, and then there's like a 1 or 2 second delay before you're able to shoot it again, but you're supposed to wait an additional time period for that solid Gauss to charge up to full charge. That's when it deals its maximum damage. And then in that situation, if the enemy is in range, you can immediately fire. But what usually happens is, even though the solid Gauss is doing more damage, you can do more damage consistently with the Hawanji, because you have to get into range of the solid Gauss, which is the same range as the Hawanji. You have to get into range. You have to find a target, and you have to make sure that the target's not undercover when you shoot at them. And if you miss with the Hawanji, it's very forgiving. You know, you can just continue shooting and get into range, or you can stop shooting and it'll cool down very quickly. If you miss with the solid Gauss, that sucks, because you're going to have to wait for it to charge back up to make it worth using. So the solid Gauss is going to perform, if you're accurate, your solid Gauss can perform more damage. It can do a higher damage output, but you're going to have to work for that damage output, because even if you can get into position and you let it charge up all the way, the enemy can, just be like, oh, he's got the solid Gauss. Well, I'm going to take cover, and then all of a sudden you're in a position to where it's like, well, now I have to shoot someone else. You have to find someone else and make sure you don't waste your shot, and high risk, but the high reward is tons of damage. But the Hawanji is a lot simpler to use. The downside with the Hawanji is, after the nerfs, your lasers are going to overheat very fast, faster than they used to. And once your laser overheats, even though you can keep shooting it, you're going to drop your damage potential, and it's almost not worth it to keep shooting them. You start to realize, like, wow, I'm not even hurting them. Stop firing your laser, let it cool down, and then continue to fire. So both of those weapons have cooldown mechanics, even though they both fire differently. So the Hawanji is a sustained burst of damage for a medium period of time, and then you have to stop and let it reload, or cool down. Your solid Gauss is tons of damage all at once, and then you're supposed to wait for it to recharge. So those two, even though it's the same range and you're looking at the damage values, the damage values are dealt in a different manner from one another, and the way to make each one of those weapons work can be conflicting. And the way to make different weapon types work is to deactivate one weapon and leave one weapon active, so you right click to use the active weapon when you don't want to use the inactive weapons. Like if you've got 3 weapons and you only want to use one of those weapons at long range, and you want to use the other 2 weapons at close range, you would deactivate your short range weapons. So when you press right click, you're only shooting your one long range weapon. But once you get in close range, you hit left click and you shoot all your weapons at close range. I can make a video where I go into a custom battle with a robot with different ranged weapons, and I can use that video to demonstrate how to deactivate weapons. Here's an example. With my Mars, when I go into battle, I like to deactivate these 2 feinters on my left side, and I like to only have my right feinter turned on, and this is my weaker feinter. So I'll start off by just hitting right click to shoot them with this feinter. If I can stun them with this feinter, then I'm like corner shooting, like cover's like right here, say the left side of my robot's behind cover, I can sneak the right side out. If I can lock down an enemy with that feinter, then I'll come behind cover and I'll start hitting left mouse button, and that will fire these two weapons, which I wouldn't. Otherwise, if you don't do that, if you try and cover fire and use this one, then you're going to be wasting these two that are just going to be hitting the wall. So that's a little bit of effort that you can go through to allow you to perform and express your skill a little bit better. So even though I've only got a level 6 Gothic Mars, and I don't even, these are, I've actually been putting work into my Gothic Feinters. That's what I'm upgrading right now, another one. I can speed this up for 555 gold, but I'm going to wait a little bit. So I will end up speeding it up eventually, but I don't want to spend that much gold on it. But I will make an additional video separate from this where I will show you how to activate and deactivate, left click, right click, how to use the two different weapon button options to give you a little bit increase in skill expression. But one more thing, I want to look at the store. If you're level 30 and you're looking to improve, like if you're happy where you're at, the rank that, like whatever league you're in, whatever rank you are, if you're happy where you're at, that's fine. If you really like these weapons that you have and you want to keep using them, that's fine as well. But if you want to rank up, if you want to get access to better rewards, if you want those better honor reward crates unlocked, you're going to have to do more damage. Because if you and an enemy are face to face and you both are in range of each other's weapons, then it's a damage race at that point. Can you do more damage than he can do? Who can do more damage the fastest? It is a little bit of a factor on the durability of the robot, but it really comes down to who's got the stronger weapon. Whoever has the stronger weapon will usually tend to win in an all-out, just straight out brawl. So when you get to tier 2, you get a little bit better weapons. They perform a little bit better. They might have additional features, extra functions, might have some kind of effect. Then you got tier 3, which tend to be more reliable, have more ammo, they may reload faster, they're a different, more effective weapon type. And also you cannot purchase them with silver or gold. You have to make them with components or earn them. Then you've got your gold tier weapons, which tend to offer even better damage values, faster reloads, more unique options, higher ammo capacities, unique effects like the rust from the claw before they gutted it. And there's always, oh, I should get the best weapon. What's the best weapons to use right now? And I can tell you right now what weapons are the most effective right now. And that's going to be these right here because they're the newest ones. But the spear, the stake, Taija, just in the 2 or 3 months that I've been playing, these are weapons that were stomping ass and have already, weapons that I started putting a few levels towards. And I've got like level 6 ardent spears, and I've got some level 6 laser weaponry. But just putting some levels into them to make them effective, because I know they're effective, and then I use them and I can see that they're effective, and then they get nerfed and I can tell the nerf, and I'm like, okay, so it's almost like I leveled up an ardent spear, a set of 4 to level 5, and then they got nerfed, and then after the nerf it's like they feel like they're all the way back down to level 2. So they're still usable, but you want to find a balance between using weapons that are good and using weapons that you enjoy. And while you're learning the game, you want to focus on what's good first. You can figure out what you like to use as you get a little bit better. So I'm going to end this video here, and thank you for taking the time to check these out, and I hope it's been helpful to you. Take care.